Welcome everyone to the Writer's Voice Café in our summer home at the Provincetown Public Library. So we're really happy to have you all come here, and this is such a great room, isn't it? So we have Judith Partelow as our featured writer, poet, and she's selling her book, A Woman's Heart, Judith Partelow. So we're excited. It's only $10, right? So I'm going to buy one. So, this is our kickoff Writer's Voice Cafe here at the Provincetown Public Library. And we have an exciting season here. In August, we're having Nathan Butera, who's the creator and, oh boy, what do I have down here? I know. Yes, I worked on off-season TV. He's the creator and filmmaker. That's how there's certain ways you have to say these things, of off-season TV series. And that's going to start showing at the Provincetown Theater on Saturday night at 7:30. So some of the episodes are going to be showed there. That'll be fun. Hildy and I are going. Hildy has her poetry in it, and she has a few walk-ons, right? Where you open the door and...
One. You have to look very quickly or fast.
I'm part of the writing group there. Oh, my name is Diane Hamilton, by the way. Diane Hamilton. And what? Any relationship to Alexander?
Yeah.
Maybe very, very far. But didn't he get killed in a duel? I mean, that's not really...
A duel, yes.
I know, that doesn't make sense to me. Anyhow. I'm your host for tonight. Everyone is saying, take a breath, Diane. I'm your host for tonight, and with the help of Rebecca Levin, who is part of the core group.
Yay, Rebecca.
She's very helpful. Hildy Olson. Woo! Jody again. And Matt Clark. And Michael Ryle. Oh, and Diane Hamilton. Okay. And Michael Ryle couldn't be here tonight. He's also part of the core group. And the core group meets once a month. So we really work on things. We've been meeting with Matt. So it's a great working relationship. So thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Wow. So whether you read your work, or you listen, or you sing, or whatever, we have all different kinds of open mic people that come and they do different things. So we're happy to have you here. I already said thanks for making this partnership happen. Thank you. So we're going to meet, our next meeting is August 13th. August 13th, and that's Nathan Butera. Then in September, we meet. Are we being filmed yet?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! I have to. Hi everyone. Oh, geez.
They call.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So in addition to the July, Writers Voice Cafe,
Which is tonight.
in addition to the August Writers Cafe, which is August, I have them here somewhere.
13.
Is it the 13th? Okay, yes it is, 13th.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday the 13th. We are going to have this month, July 18th, that's a Friday, from 10 to 2, we're going to have a poetry writing workshop led by Keith Althouse.
Where's Keith?
It's going to be here in the mezzanine. He's wonderful.
I know.
He's delightful to work with. We have flyers over here. And let me just say that it's going to be Friday, July 18th from 10 to 2. From 10 to noon is the morning session, reading and rewriting. Noon is lunch, and that will be included in the $25 fee. And then 12:30 to 2 is more readings and rewriting and discussion. So Keith wants everyone to bring 2 to 3 poems and also to bring copies of each of your poems, maybe 10 to 15.
Wow.
So the registration is $25 and you can reserve it by contacting Matt, and all the information is here. Matt's number and his email. All right? Hi. Thanks, Tom. Tom is going to be commandeering the books, Judith's books, so we appreciate that, Tom, and thank you for coming. We have Matt on camera for PTV. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, and a shout out to Bev, Amy, Swanee, who wasn't able to be here tonight, and Helen. I want to add Helen, everyone at PTV. You can watch The Writer's Voice on Channel 99 in the next week or so, or go to provincetowntv.org. All right, cell phones off or on vibrate. We thank you very much to do that. And I'm going to introduce our featured writer.
Yes.
Judith Partelow is a poet who presently lives in Harwich, Massachusetts. She was born in New Jersey and has lived on Cape Cod for over 40 years. She has credits as a journalist, reviewer, theater, film actress, director, and teacher of drama and English. Her poems have appeared in numerous publications, including Cape Cod Poetry Review, A Sense of Place, World of Water, and World of Sand. Maybe we can hear more about that. And many Baha'i publications. Released in early 2014, A Woman's Heart is Partelow's first published poetry collection, her soon-to-be published manuscript, which is here. Oh, there's another one, Until Now. Wow, you're really moving fast, Judith. That's wonderful. Until Now was selected by the Provincetown Public Press as an iBook for release in the fall. That's this coming fall, together with the paintings of Dean, is it Bayer? A longtime friend. It is a collaboration they have been planning for many years. Judith may be the person who greets you at Cape Cod Hospital if you need day surgery. She was there for me. I really did appreciate it very much. I'm telling you. You can get nervous. And you were very calming and very, it was really it's one of your hats, Judith. She's been employed there for 20 years. She is also one of the central characters of the cable series Off Season that will be airing at the Provincetown Theater for Saturdays, July 12th through August 2nd at 7:30 p.m. She'll be happy to sign her book for you, which has been receiving high praise from both men and women for its passion and its frankness. Without further ado, let's welcome Judith Partelow.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the Writer's Voice Café and Provincetown Public Library, Matt, for having me, and for all of you for being here. Many of you poets yourself, I know. I want to kind of go through a few quickly because a friend is going to be having to leave early. So let me just start with one that I like to start with. I used to write when the lump in my throat hurt so much it splattered ink all over paper. I haven't written for a long time, but suddenly life seems summed up and my throat aches. It aches. I am one of the women you haven't read about before. We never speak our insides out. We have too much to lose, or think we do. But you'll be reading all the stories anyhow in one newspaper or another over coffee. For the silent women are clamoring to be heard, though you've never seen a single printed word.
Wow.
And I'm going to read 3 poems that were inspired by martyrs in the Baha'i faith. Today is a Baha'i holy day, actually. It was the martyrdom of the Bab, the forerunner of Baha'u'llah. And so I thought in honor of that I would read these. This one is called Censure, and it's for the people who are not able to express themselves through writing because of the restrictions that they are living under. censure. They have not hung me with the other poets up against the wall, but the invitation opens like a wide smile. Words rise and burst about my head, filling me with hope and fear and dread. My fingers hold each other tensely. Now they must be still. In this darkness, I mustn't make a racket, scratching with a feathered quill. This one I wrote in the early 80s. I was working at the Baha'i International Community Office at the UN as an administrative assistant, and we were receiving telexes, when they used to send telexes every day from the Universal House of Justice, about the martyrdoms that were happening in Iran, the martyrdoms of the Baha'is. And this has been published pretty widely. It's called Telex 111. Firuzeh unlocks the office, clicks on the light, and opens the curtain. The telex machine has fed her a printed message to fill the space of the morning. She reads it, then gently unfurls its curling sheets from the sharp metal edge. Another listing of fresh torture and death to more of her countrymen. Scanning the names for relatives or friends, Iranian Baha'is. This morning, as we come to work, we see her softly weeping. Bijan takes the telex message for processing. The Xerox light turns green. We find him in the workroom with his head bowed low in prayer. His cousin was among them. Beaten on the soles with whips, they pulled his toenails out, then hung him. He would not recant. The computer room's high technology smothers Bijan's sobs. This morning, as he does his work, he offers us a smile. This morning, as we come to work. This morning, as he does his work. This morning, as we do our work, while others die this morning. And that is still going on, unfortunately. And this last one about the Baha'is is called Cup of Martyrdom. And this was published in Baha'i World Volumes in the 80s. This is no tepid milky tea drink for swallowing mildly in shallow conversations. This drink burns strong and bold on tongues, yet tastes as sweet as honey. It gathers courage, thrusting forward the prior timid towards lands of crawling grasses, and stands them under flying bat wings to test the bitterness. The hearts beat louder with each deep drink, slowly drawn from the cup of golden utterances. A zealous song begins its bleeding on lovers' battlefields. Loving, loving, in new translation, for dying ties the lover's knot. In a chain, a dancing chorus chasing down a worldly rot. Slipping through the hangman's fingers, from the noose escapes the sigh. They cannot slice a soul in splinters. They cannot quell the joyous cry. Churning, churning, amalgamation. The bones can pile to the sky. They cannot break the throbbing spirit. They cannot char the name Baha'i. And because you mentioned my job at Cape Cod Hospital, let me see if I have it right here. I'm just going to read Faith in Surgical Daycare. This is really, my job inspired this poem. It's 6 a.m. and the first arrivals for scheduled surgery line up at my station. They're tired and hungry, hurting and vulnerable, scared. I've seen all types of humanity pass through those doors. Young mothers with babies, tough guys, the deaf and the blind, middle-aged husbands and wives, the elderly with a spouse if they're lucky, a compassionate friend, or sometimes alone. In wheelchairs or crutches or walkers or handcuffs, all races, religions, and cultures. Americans, Germans, Brazilians, Chinese, world citizens. They are united in a common faith. The doctor will heal them, and they will be made well. Okay, going back to my childhood. apron number 1 and apron number 2. This is from my book. Apron number 1, red and white checks tied at the waist, a small apron, not much for covering, just enough to say I'm a wife. I cook pot roasts and potatoes. I set the table with clean linen napkins and never skip dessert. My husband expects it. He's French, you know. Eventually, he'll leave me for that lazy cow who doesn't cook or clean or do much more than help him with his crosswords, and I suppose she's good in bed. He has crosswords for me, too, but not the kind I dare to finish, as I scrape his plates and slip them into hot, soapy water. Apron number 2. Red and white checks around Mommy's waist, so pretty in a big bow. Or I see it hanging, blowing to and fro, the clothespins bouncing up and down, and no, there'll be something good for dinner and cake for dessert, and sweet-smelling napkins fresh off the line, and a steam-pressed tablecloth. But no matter what, Daddy yells, and Mommy tells me, no, honey, it's all right. I don't need help with the dishes. You can go and play. This one's called Jersey Girl. Guys with their slick DAs took me for a ride in their souped-up Chevrolets, trailing cigarette smoke out the sides of their mouths, so cool to this sophomore straight from Catholic school. Blowing smoke rings to impress me in my homemade yellow sundress, and speeding down the main drag, driving with their knees, prompting prayers under my breath, 100 dear Jesus, please protect me's. And the petting I denied, though they tried and tried. I'd always get my monthly friend early, inexplicably. Was it God's way of protecting me and my virginity? On the strip, on summer holiday between the ocean and the bay, I yearned for something more in my teen years down the shore, though I didn't know just what it was or what I hungered for. In my naive virgin's 16-year-old skin, somehow I knew it was a sin.
That's a good
Let's see. How soon do you have to go?
Like one more.
Like one more? Okay, well, I'm going to read this one then. It's kind of a longer one, but I love to read it. It's called Second Chance. Remember as a child sitting in the back seat of your father's Chevrolet as you drove along country roads in autumn, and you could imagine yourself carelessly running through the woods, stirring up the leaves, wanting to have nature all over you, wrap its arms around you, and let you nuzzle its soft, mossy earth. Or passing a grassy hill in your adolescence as your parents argued in the front seat. You'd spy a little town in the distance, the church steeple peeking up over the hilltop, and you wanted to jump out of the car, run onto the green field, tumble through the overgrowth, and knock on the door of the sexton who was just sitting down to dinner. You'd say you were an orphan who had run away and needed a place to hide, and you were hungry, and could he spare a little soup and a mat near the fire for the night? Or you were a young mother sitting up front in the passenger seat, turning to look at the father of your children, and then back at the sleeping children, and wonder where you would be now if you had run away with a traveling poet who sang to you one night after your first baby was born, played his guitar for you, and made you feel beautiful and desired and could see into your soul. And as you recall those lost longings lying in your bed one September morning, remembering what you didn't do because you were responsible or obedient or dependable or too old for fantasies, something stirs within you. This something tells you to go down to the great rich sea outside your doorway with its crashing waves and deep uncertain waters before it is too late. And so you step out of the comfort of your landlocked room and go to the shore where riotous waves beckon you to slip underneath and let it swallow you up, toss you playfully about and wash over your body, reach up under your bedclothes to cleanse your cold skin, and tease the young woman out of you until you are floating and arching and sweetly aching, swimming and gliding and giddy with gratitude that you haven't missed your chance.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're sorry you did.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for being here. It was so sweet. He has a show to go to. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna just backtrack slightly. What's my time? 5?
Good.
Okay, great. Carry me back. This is, the scents that remind you of your past. Carry me back. The fragrance of sweet-scented cigars lifts me in the rickety elevator to my first job on the 17th floor at a Philadelphia insurance company, hired by 2 old men who puffed inexorable smoke into the building's walls. A spray of white shoulders and that slutty senior high school girl appears, who drenched daily in the pungent stuff, sending a message to all that she is in the halls. A sniff of Jean Naté and I'm at college, my sorority sisters bathing in it as we powdered and splashed. A whiff of scotch and I'm doubled over the toilet bowl in my boyfriend's upper crust apartment. Essence of rose petals flies me over oceans, cities, plains, to Israel, on pilgrimage to holy places. And Bougainvillea sends me straight down to Bahamas, where we lived 3 months, awaiting work visas to teach. My mother is emerald, the oriental perfume permeating her trousseau of silks and satins that became my dress-up clothes when I acted out movie stars, nuns, cowgirls, and queens. Give me the scent of tobacco in the pocket of a shirt, and I'm back on my father's lap, cradled in his arms as I cried, for whatever reasons little girls cry. His pell-mells the aroma of a loving dad forever. I want to read this one for Joe Gavea, who many of you know, who recently died of cancer. And I can see the people going in and out of the cancer center from my desk at the hospital. And I wrote this before he died, actually the first time he was going in for chemo. Oncology nursery rhyme. I see them walking to and fro. Through my window I see them go. Some are fat and some are thin. I see them walking as they go in. I see them walking out again. Not much laughter, somewhat grim. Somewhat paler as the days go by. Somewhat balder and less spry. Always hopeful, some do cry. In every weather, rain or dry. It may have settled in her breast, or in his liver, or in his chest, or in her brain, or on her skin. I see them walking as they go in. I see them walking out again. And when the therapy is finished and that devil disease has been diminished, I hope to God they're free at last, and I won't have to see them pass anymore to and fro through my shining window glass. On a lighter note, I have this poem that I wrote long ago, and it's sort of a children's book, and I'd love to find an illustrator, so I'm going to read it to you and see if anybody's inspired. It's called Off to Kimberwick. Just a hop skip on a peggly stick, on a pinstriped horse to Kimberwick. My Johnny Fair went riding there through a lollipop gate to the town. His boots were green, his eyes were gold, his wooden horse a dapple bold. His silken purse a treasure hold to buy my silver gown. The sky was pink, the sun was blue, the handsome wares my Johnny drew. He bought a duck, away it flew, it had such fluffy down. He chased a goat, he rode a mule, the children laughed to see the fool. His hat fell on a farmer's stool, he wore it like a crown. The promised gift my dear forgot, bright music led him to gavotte. He tripped and fell into a pot. He lost our shining jewel. He ate frappes and puffy clairs and chocolate with sauce, the lemon drops in great array, and licked the frostings off. With tummy full, anon he slept, his purse laid on the ground, and happily he came back to me without my silver gown.
So much in it.
So come up and talk to me. I love that. All right, here's one I wrote recently. It's in my book called Breasts, and I wrote it and submitted it for the Mutual Muses program at the Cultural Center in South Yarmouth. And there was a lovely collage that the artist created for this poem. Breasts. We bone them, pound and stuff them, and proudly pass them to our guests. We share them. We're fond of them when they are cooked, or placed into our mouths and shook. We want them. We tug them with our baby lips, and with our full-grown fingertips, we touch them. We squeeze them with our tiny hands and suck the milk from swollen glands. We pat them. We put them into wired cups. We tighten them and press them up. We bind them. We measure size to hold them in or swing them freely in the wind. We flaunt them. We want them larger than they are or not so cumbersome by far. We fix them. We search for lumps or hidden mass. We crush them between plates of glass. We probe them. We ogle, use, they sag, they bruise, and if the diagnosis proves, we lose them. But when in poetry or art, breasts inspire the artist's heart, and all the bliss that comes from this, we praise them. Okay. Okay, I want to read an important one because it's the one that brought a beautiful, wonderful man into my life. I didn't know it when I wrote it, but this is also about my job. It's called That One. At my work in the surgical unit, I see couples, lots of couples. Couples who've been together for a long time or maybe not so long. I observe little things, signs and touches, jokes and laughter, annoyances, curtness, disparagement. I make note of the ones I want and don't want for my life. I see men who can't get away too soon when they're dropping off their wives for surgery. I see the men who pace and worry and can't wait to go in to see their wives before and after major and sometimes very minor surgeries. I feel envious when a man is sweet, tender, caring, and doesn't seem to notice anyone else but the woman he is with. I want that. I want that man who can see only me, who sees into me, who sees with me, confides in me, rejoices with me, cries with me. I want those fingers intertwined with mine, that love breath on my face, that gentle pressure where I hurt, those eyes that search my face for how I feel. I want that for me, that man, that one, that one. And after I met him, I wrote this called Captive. I breathed him deep within, eyes, mind, skin. I set my snare cunningly, wooing with words. I willed him to capture me, envelop me. We breathed heavily in the contest, matched perfectly, until our hearts, torn open and exposed, molded into one, and losing sense of time and place, we were home. Two more? Okay, I promised Diane I would read this one. It's called This Winter's Morning. I wrote it in February. I walked into the woods behind my house and found the trees holding a formal in their cotillion finery. Some branches bowing low, frozen heavy with organza, others stiff with tulle, as they curtsied in their white ball gowns to the taller trees standing proudly in a row, boughs spread as though asking to have this dance, nodding slightly to the wind's refrain. A neighbor played his shovel like a drum, a scrape, a brush, or muffled in a tom-tom beat, rhythmically swishing back and forth across his driveway. And the sun beamed its rays through the waving limbs across the ballroom floor, as I joined the shadows with their dancing, keeping time to a winter's melody. Oh dear, okay. Skipping right ahead, I'm going to just read this last one, right? It's called Encounter, and it's the last one in my book. The man reading his paper at the coffee shop got up and left when I sat down. The folding of his paper and the leaving seemed eerily familiar. Such a brief moment was shared in the same space, where our lives intersected, then moved apart.
I think I was there for surgery for Kitty, and I was waiting, and you were going to present that to your writing group. And I just loved it. I just loved it. Anyhow, thank you for reading it to me that day. I asked Judith to talk a little bit about her journey of writing, and also to take questions from you all. Thank you all for coming. And so, you know, how you,
Okay.
you know, just, yeah.
Okay. Well, my very first poem, I woke up when I was in 5th grade, and I had this poem in my head, and it was for my mother. And it was Mother's Day was coming, and I had this whole poem in my head, and I wrote it down, and I mean, and it's still pretty good. I'm so surprised. But anyway, I took it to my teacher, and I said, "Would you read this and see if it is good enough to give to my mother for Mother's Day?" And she read it, and she looked up at me, and she was crying, and she said, "Can I give it to my mother too?" So what an inspiration that teacher was. And I didn't. I wrote some in junior high. I was writing on the school magazine, and then in high school. But in college, I started writing more. And submitted. I have my rejection slip from Saturday evening. What was the magazine? Saturday
Post?
No, Saturday
Evening
Review.
Saturday.
Yeah, I have my rejection slip. It's pretty funny actually when I look at it now. But in the 80s, I wrote a lot. And I was in a poetry workshop in Connecticut. And it was very inspirational. I have actually a lot of poems that I wrote at that point. And but then I got really involved in theater, and I was spending most of my time acting or directing or something. And I finally realized, maybe it was 3 years ago or so, I'm not sure how long ago, that I was allowing theater to keep me from doing what I really wanted to do, which was write poetry. And I still really want to do that more, but I have to make more time. But I've pulled away from doing so much theater, and so now I am spending more time writing and put together this first chapbook, which I'm excited about, by the encouragement of Tom and several other people who said, "I can't wait to have your book." So I was really excited, and I must say, I self-published it. I took it to Minuteman Press. They did a wonderful job. It wasn't hard. All these times of sending out to publishers and not, or the contests and not getting anything made. I did actually. March Piercy selected my poem Bedtime Story, which is in the book, as the second prize winner for the Cape Cod division of WOMR's Outermost Poetry Contest this year. So I was really thrilled about that. But I decided, to just put together this book, and I did. And the feeling of accomplishment has been incredible. It's really encouraged me to continue, because people are giving me a lot of wonderful feedback. And so I'm happy about that. I have a website, judithpartelow.com. Very easy, and it has my book on it, and different things that people have said, and all my contact information, and so people can order it through that if they would like. But anyway, the journey continues. There's so much I want to write about. Yes.
Do you have a specific time of the day, or do you get an inspiration, or
Oh, thanks, for asking. It's so many different things. So often when I'm driving, I like a title, I get titles fast, and then I take that and start to write. Some things, sit for a long time, and I just don't know where to go with it. And other times the Second Chance poem that I read. I came home from a poetry, an open mic one night, and I sat down and I wrote the whole thing. And I just slightly edited edited it afterwards. Also, Cup of Martyrdom that I read, I wrote just like that. It was in my head when I woke up, and I wrote it. And other things, you know, I mean, I really try to work and make it not mundane, and you know, try to come up with things that are not cliches, and how do I look at it a different way. I don't usually save my old drafts. I mean, I have old ones, but now with the computer, I do have a tendency to just revise right over the old ones, and I think that's okay because I like it better now, you know, when I revise it. So, but I know a lot of people do save all of their old drafts. What else?
The breadth of what you've written, I mean, funny and poignant and tragic and happy, and it's just fabulous.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I love writing workshops because they give you prompts, you know, and you can just go off and write about anything. And who was it? Was it? I don't know if it was Keith Althouse when I took a workshop with him a long time ago, who says, you can, you know, look at the first thing that you look at, write a poem about it. You know, you can, and I try to do that sometimes. But sometimes, you know, there's a subject, there's an inspiration. So, yes.
I like that Jersey Boys piece. Where did the inspiration come on that?
Oh, well, actually, to tell you the truth, it was Barry Hellman's book called King of Newark. Is that the name of it? King, I have it. And because he's from New Jersey, and he wrote all of these things about New Jersey growing up. And I thought, darn it, I'm going to write Jersey Girl. And so that's where that came from. Yeah. In fact, I had a little preface at first about Barry before I then edited that.
Very clever.
Thanks.
You mentioned the Baha'i. Could you just, tell us a little bit about?
Oh boy,
I know
the elevator, the elevator speech.
Is it where it started?
Okay,
Yeah.
in the 1800s in Iran, people all over the world were waiting for the manifestation of God to appear again in the 1800s. So religious people all over the world, no matter what their belief was, were looking for the return. And in 1844, this man who became known as the Bab, which means the gate, was the one who it was revealed to him that he was to prepare the way for the promised one, whose name is Baha'u'llah, which means the glory of God. And there are actually 3 Baha'is in this room right now. We believe that there is one God, that mankind is one, that religion is one, that it's been revealed progressively throughout the ages through different prophets. And so it's just like going through school, you learn different things in different grades, but it all is part of the whole. And so that's what we believe religion is. And Baha'u'llah is the one who brought these teachings, new teachings for this age. Every prophet has new teachings for that age. They reiterate the eternal truths. They foretell what's to come in the future, how to be prepared. For now, some of the teachings are the equality of men and women, the harmony of science and religion, that all children need to be educated everywhere in the world, and that there is a universal system for universal economy. You know, there's an economic solution to our problems, which is detailed in the Baha'i writings. So BAHA''I, look it up. Independent investigation of truth is one of the teachings that each of us has a responsibility to investigate for ourselves and not follow blindly in the footsteps of our forefathers. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome.
Have you ever read When God Was a Woman?
No. No.
I read it. I forget who wrote it, but I just couldn't wait to get the book.
Oh, okay.
The late Williams.
Did Maria Gambudis write that?
What?
maybe not. Oh, Maria Gambudis, Joe?
Maria Gambuda?
Who?
Maria Gambudis.
Maria
This is like
Gambuda
a telephone.
No, we don't know. We're just,
Okay.
The late William Sloane Coffin at Riverside Church used to say, "And Jesus Christ, mother of us all."
Right, right.
Judith, I love
Well,
that you can take just a couple
When
words.
God was a woman, the man didn't
almost
think
bring
they had
it
anything to do with her.
hold on.
Say again, Judy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Matrimonial
I
society.
love that we're in a couple words and almost brought me to tears and then to laughter, just like that. So,
Thanks, thank you. Thanks so much. I don't want to wear out my welcome.
And what I love the experience of being female, whether it's the difficulties or the joyousness or the celebration, the breasts, or, you look at them in a lot of different ways. And there was a very wonderful totality to being female from your point of view, and that was very nice. Thank you, Judith.
Thanks a lot.
Anyone else? Let's give a hand.
Buy the book.
A woman's
Our
heart.
press agent.
And Tom here is selling them, and Tom, maybe the next time you'll read some of your own poems. We're sorry we missed them. So we want to, so we'll be here next month, Wednesday, August 13th. Nathan Butera, filmmaker and creator of Off Season. He'll be our featured writer at the Provincetown Public Library, and we're meeting 6 to 8 now. That's an hour earlier than when we met at Nappy's. David, pardon me?
We can get home without getting struck.
You can get home without getting
Struck.
by a car or whatever. Okay. And just to let you know, David Scarby Mitchell, creator and star of Lipstick, will be our feature writer in September. And also a reminder, I know we already have someone signed up for Keith Oldhouse's poetry workshop. So please take a flyer so that you can email Matt. And we thank you very much for signing up. We want to thank the core group, Hildy Olson, Rebecca Levin, myself, Michael Ryle, who couldn't be here, and lastly, Matt Clark. We want to thank the Friends of the Provincetown Public Library for their generous donation toward our expenses. We really do appreciate them very much. Matt is the reason we are here, and we really want to thank you, and we'll do a little bit of Matt? We do it up big here, Matt. So just a little something. He really, all along the way, he made this happen, so we really want to thank him. So, thanks to everyone for being here on our kickoff for their summer season. Please like us on Facebook. We're at the Writer's Voice, just Writer's Voice Café. We're on Facebook. We try to keep it up. And we also have a sheet where you can sign up. And you can also sign someone up as an idea for a featured writer. And last Writer's Voice Cafe, we got 5 people who suggested featured writers. And you can help us out in that area because you know things maybe we don't know. So see you on August 13th. And thank you again, Matt. Is that the end? Should we turn off? Yeah, that's the end.
Yes.
Goodbye.